we're going to just skip the timer, and things are a little bit dark again. This is just my phone. So. Ooh. There's some weird blue bits. In. Oh, it's a bit. Oh. It's a bit bigger than the actual piece of paper I've got. Well, okay, interesting. Let's not get distracted. So, I think that's from a different painting. It's been stuffed into a folder with other paintings quite. Right, so I don't know from when this is, and it doesn't say so on the back, but it's definitely primary school, and in my quest to figure out what the reference was, I'm going to repaint it. And I think this is grass, actually. I remember there's supposed to be a church here, hence the random cross there. It's just maybe a tree, because it doesn't look like a flower. I'll figure this out. Right, the rules are only yellow tones, although I think slightly more orange yellows are allowed. So we're going to take ourselves some yellow pencils, even though I don't think I sketched out anything there, but I think I'm going to need a sketch. So what? Oh, that's not yellow. What I'm gonna do is find my yellow coloured pencils, start out with that. What colour are you? Camel. I think that's more sort of a brownish yellow. I make the rules. I make the rules. This is pumpkin, that's clearly supposed to be orange. I don't like how all the pencils are facing a different direction. Hang on. I gotta fix that. Right, there's a yellow. And that's a yellow too. Let's just quickly make sure the pencils are facing the right way. What colour are you? Pumpkin, great, I had one just a moment ago. Oops, let's not get any pigment on the actual paper, thank you. Hello, Sarabian or Abian, rather. Senor Abian, how are you doing this Friday afternoon? Hang on, that's a turmeric, yellow. Right, we can. That's not an eraser, that's something to flatten out folds. It's not to erase. I just keep it in my pencil case there because otherwise I would lose it. I'm doing pretty well. This time I have also got our reference painting. Reference. Oof. Hello there, big construction machine. What are you doing? My goodness, it looks like it's driving backwards. Ah, no, it's being pulled by a tractor. Interesting. Okay, right. I'm getting distracted. This time I have. Oh, it's a bit dark, but I'm hoping that way you're going to be able to see the yellows better. So we've got the church. I'm wondering if this is supposed to be a tree. Maybe, because it doesn't really have the stem that I put on flowers, which this one also kind of doesn't, but I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be a sunflower and then I got unhappy with it. We've obviously got the fence, where I don't know if it was supposed to go all the way around or if it's just this one random fence. It's kind of funny, just put a random fence somewhere and all around it is still unfenced. That's the word I was looking for. We've got the sun that's rolling through the sky with a little trail behind it. That sort of ends here, so I'm wondering if this church was supposed to be taller. Proportion-wise, this is all... From this angle, the sun looks like a yellow ball of yarn. It kind of does, consider... I mean, yeah, it kind of does. You've got the ball and then you've got the yarn bit here. That's very funny. And I'm pretty sure I just burnt my tongue a bit. Hot tea is hot, guys. Hot tea is hot. Maybe this is supposed to be grass, because I don't know what else it would be. So it was supposed to have grass, and then the sunflowers, and then the church, and possibly a tree next to it. I don't know if this is supposed to be a tree though. I don't know. But we're gonna make it a tree. We're gonna have a church. Maybe it sort of goes like this. Because this seems a bit tiny compared to the sunflowers. So many questions, so few answers. Yeah, it's it's weird. I'm analysing a piece of old art that I can't remember. I can barely remember painting this. I just know it was a struggle. And I got very frustrated. And as you can see, the paper was not the greatest either. Although it does have some texture to it, which is okay. But it's super flimsy. Also, what's this blue random dot doing there? Might have been a different painting from the folder. This kind of looks like it was stuck on the classroom board or something. I don't remember that. You remind me of myself having to make stuff up to pass my art history class 2 years ago. The thing is, I am literally making it up because I don't remember what was supposed to be what exactly. I know that this was supposed to be sunflowers, there was a church and a sun. I don't know what this is supposed to be or what this random blob is. And it started to rain. Ain't that lovely? Ireland, I missed this weather. Okay, so I don't know where to put this right now. Oh, you know what I'm missing? A sharpener. Hey, I can actually see the background today. Yeah, but unfortunately there's no cows to look at. Hold on, is there a sharpener somewhere around? Ah, yes, there is. Right here. I've got a sharpener. Smart cows don't want to get wet. Oh no, they're outside. They're just not on the fields behind me. Besides, this is Ireland. The cows are probably used to wet. So, yeah. I'm gonna put the sharpener aside. Alright, which one of these? So your lemon. I think this is ivory, yes. Then we've got sunflower. I think turmeric, yes. This is the order of coloration. I swear the camel is still a yellowish tone. I don't know if I'm going to use it though, but you know, we'll see. Also, I'm pretty sure while I was messing around with my pencils, I got a little pink on there that we're going to ignore. Rude cows don't want me to see. I know. It's a bit sad. They're way over on that side of the field, like it's behind that wall right there. Behind that wall. If you could see past it, there would be cows, but not right now. Right, let's actually get started. It's been 10 minutes already. I'm gonna sharpen my ivory, which is the lightest yellow, which is what I'm gonna use to start sketching out what goes where. But I mean, judging from how big I drew sunflowers, they must have been rather big overall. Like, and there were at least 2 of them, so you know, that's that. Also, I have noticed this is And it's a bit taller than my actual piece of paper. If I line that up, it's like the paper goes until there, my paper. But I didn't realise that because I just thought A4 is A4, A3 is A3, right? And it's also a bit longer. We're not gonna let this deter us. Let me use my 4D all-seeing third eye. Ah yes, I can see them. Just make the wall disappear. Everything makes everything easier. Oh goodness, I can barely see what I'm sketching. Which means you can probably not see what I'm doing here. It's okay. Right, we're gonna have the sun. That's sort of where I would like it to be. We need pointy things for sketching. Right, we're gonna have the sun like this. Seems to be at least somewhat prominent in the sky. So we're gonna have it like this. There we go, now you can see it. Right, then what we've got is obviously the church. And also pretty big sunflowers. And the church, which is barely visible. Barely. But you can see we've got the two zigzaggy roofs. So it's a church with two roofs. But we're gonna make it a little bit taller. Gonna put it right about here. The roofs seem to be touching each other at the very least. Oops. But only one of them has a cross, apparently. And there are no windows to speak of. A little strange, but now that I think about it, this doesn't seem like the front of the church, maybe? Maybe it is. Right, the cross, let's make it a little bit bigger, because apparently I thought it was huge. Wheatfield Sunrise, Saint Remy, 1889 by Van Gogh. I may have found the original. Wheatfield. Lacks sunflowers, but everything else matches. Oh, was it a wheat field? So is it a Van Gogh after all? It's a series of old paintings. Okay. No. I don't know. Check on images. Okay. There's a lot of wheat fields. A private collection. really like these though. The first one is supposed to be the one. You mean this? I don't know. We're probably never going to figure out what the reference was for that painting that I did there. I mean, there's no lines. I'm doing a lot of blobby things. And I remember with the Starry Night, which we did around about the same time, I did put in as many, like, the lines as best as I could. As a 6-year-old me could, at the very least. It wasn't a masterpiece, but wait, which one? Which chat? Which chat? Maybe I should make a chat just for this painting, so we can all just try and figure out what was going on, what I was doing. Right, I'll leave my phone there. I mean, it doesn't exactly look... I mean, it might have been inspiration for it, but I feel like we are looking for a different artist that's not Van Gogh, because I'm not doing any lines, I'm just doing general shapes. That's probably the closest we're gonna get here, right? We are probably never going to know, but it's still going to be fun to repaint it. Right, and also analyze Little Me's painting. My goodness, it's very dark today, isn't it? But that way you're going to see at least the outlines. Right, I'm gonna give this church the windows again, because I feel like these two places need some windows. At least here. And here, I don't know if there would be like stained glass, but it might be. But I don't know, I don't want to take too many kisses and not make things too complicated for myself. Should I put a door? Or does this look more like the behind of the church? Well, not behind, but like the back of a church. Who knows, maybe there were more roofs behind it. Maybe I can add a little bit of perspective to this. Okay, I'm liking that. I suppose in the case of this painting, we just have to work with what we get. Hello, what's up? I was looking around and came across your stream and maybe I can help you out with your Twitch custom graphics even more. Yeah, that does sound familiar. We've had someone... So there's a new thing people do on Twitch. Randomly asking people... I'm pretty sure I'm good with things as they are. Thank you. For the other though. I'm getting bot feelings. I'm getting bot feelings. Because I literally just said no thank you. Okay, there we go. We've got the basics of church sketched out. So, the other thing we need is apparently grass, a fence, and sunflowers, and possibly, oh yeah, the tree. I'm gonna put it right here. And I mean, it looks a little bit like the tree might be moving a bit. Maybe it's a windy day. Because it's kind of got that shape. Me interpreting my old art. This feels so weird. But I really don't know what else it would be. Other than a tree, this blob right there next to the church. It's giving me tree vibes, so it's gonna be a tree. Haha. Interesting. I'm not getting another reply from Eva. Is this like a new bot? I don't know if you've noticed, but we haven't gotten any of the I can give you more followers bots. Maybe they've started doing a new thing. Theories for days. This is reminding me of a pear. Oh well. A little odd tree. Okay. The other things. The other things we need. A pear tree. No, just the shape of the way I drew the leaves, but I was trying to interpret this weird shape there. So I made this. Seems plausible enough for me. Right next to it we've got the sunflower that's kind of going this way because it's obviously facing the sun. And after drawing so many sunflowers, I know that they also have leaves. So let's add the leaves. Wait, hold on a sec. Couldn't the big sunflower be a second tree you didn't want to be covered by the first one? No. No, I don't think so, because look at this. You've got petal, 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 petal. And I think this one just frustrated me. I vaguely remember I was struggling so much with the different yellows. Because I obviously didn't know a lot about colour theory back then, and nobody bothered explaining things to me. So these two are definitely sunflowers. There's at least 2 sunflowers. We're probably gonna paint more than 2 sunflowers though. And we're gonna make them a little bit smaller because proportions were not a thing in my primary school brain. There we go. Right, let's give this sunflower some more leaves. I mean, the proportions are still a little bit off here, but sunflowers can grow quite tall, so we're going to just say it's a very small tree, or maybe it's further in the back. Look, we're just going to make the sunflower more in the foreground, and suddenly we've got more depth. Cheating. There doesn't seem to be any background in the original painting, so we're going to go with mountains, or just hills, rather, just hills, like we did last time. We're going to put grass in this area. We're going to have it be in front of the fence in a way. Well, might be grass, might be something else. Maybe it's wheat. For all we know, it could be wheat. Interesting that Eva is not replying anymore. Very interesting. I'm pretty sure they are a bot. You know what? For next time when this comes, I'm not going to react. I'm just going to ignore that message. And if they still keep going and stuff, if my theory is right, if they look for Discord links, enter, and then if there's no other checks, just spam random stuff. Weird. Why would they be after Discord links though? It just seems a bit random to me. But oh well, it doesn't have to bother me because I didn't give them anything this time. And they clearly don't stay behind on streams for particularly long. I'm just going to pretend that this goes on back there, but let's draw more sunflowers. There's a ton of free Discord Nitro scammers out there. Share annoying links, get people to click them, steal their data, etc. Oof. Goodness gracious, people. Well, not with me, that's for sure. I'm trying to have them all face the sun. Because I kind of feel like that's a necessity with sunflowers. They need to be facing the sun, which in this case is rolling across the sky for some reason. Looking a little bit like a yarn ball. We should get a cat in there somewhere. I mean, if we already don't know what the reference is, or was, because for this one, obviously, the reference is my old painting, which isn't that great of a reference, but it's a reference. And a tiny black cat riding the yarn ball. Considering that this is going to be all yellow, it's not going to be a black cat, but we can add that in once I'm done with the sunflowers. A dark yellow cat. We're going to have to see how dark yellow we can get. I mean, yellow ochre is pretty dark, and I'm going to be using it this time because last time I think I forgot about its existence. I don't know how I'm going to do that though. I'm a bit scared to draw in a cat. It's fine. I'll draw it in a moment. I'll just do the sunflowers first. Poor colour, how could you? It's just not grouped with the yellows, it's grouped with the brown tones, the earthy tones, and so I didn't think about it, and that was probably a grave error. I'm sorry, yellow ochre, that you had to go through that. I'm gonna need to sharpen this again because it's getting hot. I think the colour is satisfied with your apology. It's gonna be used in this one, probably. Turns out I can talk with colours apparently. And over such great distance as well. Very impressive. At this rate the hills might be covered by sunflowers, but oh well. The thought counts, right? Right, we're gonna put some sunflowers behind here. just to make it clear that there is not just this one row of sunflowers. And this gives us an excuse to fill up that space, which is going to be a bit difficult to paint, but that's why they call me the Wizard of Colour. Ooh, you are a very great Wizard of Colour indeed. Okay, I think the rest we're just gonna do a bit blurry, blur it out slightly. Gonna add another random stem right there just to suggest that there's something else there, some more flowers. Okay, let's try and find a cat that can, I think, run along here because there's like an empty space there, so it can run along there. No, not YouTube. I just need a running cat. Let's go with that reference. Okay, you've got this. It's just gonna be a tiny, tiny kitten. Okay, it's a bit wonky, but you know, it's fun enough. Right, I don't know if I'm going to use the other colouring pencils, but we're going to leave them out there. Right, now the question is, I think I should slightly erase some of this, just so that the watercolour doesn't struggle to hold on to the paper. Look at me erasing colouring pencils. With very little success, obviously. Because we're colouring pencils. But I'm hoping it's going to make the actual watercolour pop a little bit more. Yellow eraser bits, isn't that fun? I'm very excited for this. So I don't really do big paintings a lot, so this is kind of fun. Very fun and interesting. Alright, now you guys can barely see the sketch, but that's going to be fine. You still not make out that there is a sketch, which is nice. It's also not overdo the erasing. I'll throw it away later. Okay. Right. Now we're going to start the fun part. Right. I think we should try to slightly separate this. So we'll keep the yellow ochre to the church maybe and the tree. Have most of the lemon yellow here at first. And then this is the other two yellows for the sky and the sun. This probably also going to be lemon yellow. So that's the plan. Whether or not I'm going to stick to it, don't ask me. Hello, birds. What are you doing? Huh? Flying around. Right, we're going to make all of this wet. You know what would be really fun to have? Watercolor pencils. I've used them a few times now, partially when I was doing art in the park in the Burren with the others. That was really fun to use for colouring watercolor pencils. Birds came to say hi. Yeah, apparently. Either that or they're having a little bit of fun out in the wind and rain. You know, birds love to play with wind and rain. More with the wind, actually, I think. Not so much the rain, but you know what I mean. Goodness me, I forgot how much work it is to water this entire page. Why so big? Okay, there we go. We have watered this sufficiently, I would say. Everything is nice and wet. Great. Let's take a little bit of the lemon yellow here, which I have only freshly put out. Right, we're gonna, I know you're not supposed to like go straight onto the page with the paint, but in this case it is kind of, there's no way around it because I don't have a clear space on the palette for this to go on. Right, I'm gonna have the price is lower than any competitor. No thank you. Ban. Gee, we're getting so many scammers today. Right, the sky, we're going to start out with this colour. The thing is, it's already drying so much. Like that side of the page is already dry. I need to work quicker, I suppose. Let's get some of that really dark yellow up on top. Okay, I'm gonna put lemon yellow where the sunflowers are. Paper's really wobbly, obviously, because I've added water to it. So we're getting a little plop, 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 plop from me. Whoa! Fairly best mod over here. She's currently talking with a friend. They have been missing each other for a few days now, so you know they're having a little chat together. Right, and we're gonna keep yellow ochre, which is here. I'm gonna use that for a lovely church. Look at that nice yellowish brown. We're also going to make sure the cross is coloured in the yellow ochre. Right, for the tree, I'm going to make the branches this colour. I mean, yeah, they do have a lot of books that you have to read through, you know. Right, let's actually just also colour in the leaves. Right, there we go, we've got some Nice variation going on now. I can hardly see my sun anymore, but I know it's there. Ooh, we're getting so wobbly. But it's okay. We can deal with this. We can deal with this. I think we're going to also make the cat yellow ochre. See, this time I'm thinking a bit more about what I'm doing. Last time I was just winging it. This time I kind of know what I have to look out for, which is where do I put what yellow? Among other things, obviously. Okay. I'm going to take some of this darker yellow and add it as grass down here. I think it's going to make a lot more sense if I do the fence in yellow ochre as well. I'm just thinking how can I get maximum contrast with the colours I've got, which is not very easy because the colour is a very light colour. And the darkest I can get is this yellow I'm using right now, which is I think the Indian yellow. Yeah. Darkest I can get is Indian yellow. Hurrah! Although, you know, I can try to mix yellow ochre with the other one. What are these grey bits? Get off my painting. Thank you. I think they're eraser bits. Nah, that's not working. You're being very strict with your own rules. Well, yes, that, and I also kind of need to figure out what I'm doing. I mean, technically this is not going to be graded, so it doesn't really matter if I stick to the rules, but I have rules that I've set up for myself and I would like to fulfill them, to make myself happy, you know? Let's actually mix our yellows together. And more water. brush, bigger brush. It holds more water, so I can map out where the sunflowers are. Also be mindful of the fence, Daria. Mindful of the fence. It's a shame I can't use green for the leaves, but we have to work with what we've got. Get colour variation with one colour. Well, 4 technically, they are different shades of yellow, but you get what I mean. At what point does it stop being yellow and does it start being green? The point where I add blue, I suppose. Like they are greenish yellows that have like just a tiny hint of green inside of them. But I would also already count that as a grey area for yellow. That's a weird way to put it, but that's basically how I see it. How I would view that. I mean, at what point does it stop being yellow and does it start being orange, you know? That's also a question we need to consider. Because at the moment I do have the yellows in the area where I'm also mixing with red and orange, but I'm keeping it in its like own isolated area so as to avoid getting those shades. I feel like with the bigger... Hello, Korea! Hello, how are you doing? So what if you add just a tiny bit of blue, so tiny it almost doesn't count? I don't know. Controversial? I suppose it could be counted as controversial, but I don't know. I make the rules, I suppose. But I'm not going to add any other like colours to it. I'm just going to stick to yellow. Work day over, weekend soon. Yippee-ki-yay, what about you? I'm doing pretty well. I'm having a little bit of fun with this. Though it's a little bit difficult. Because getting colour variation with a colour that is yellow. But I don't feel like there's that many shades of yellow. There might be, but I don't really have that many. So this might just make me struggle a little bit. Considering I'm not going to allow myself to mix it with orange or any other non-yellow colour to make my life easier, because why would I make my life easier? Work brings love, or whatever the saying was, or at least here. I mean, some work does bring love, right? I love art. That brings me love. And I love it, I mean. Yeah, I got a tiny little pile of yellow eraser bits. Okay. I mean, I'm looking at it, and so far we've got some separation at least. We can see the sky where the fence is. That's good. Good. Oops, wet. I love not working. I guess that counts. Well, it depends on the kind of work, right? At least for me, it depends on what kind of work I'm doing. Some work is more tedious than other work. Right towards the bottom, I think we can dare to go with Indian yellow on the sun. Just to give it a little extra stand-outiness. We want our sun to stand out. Though we are not. Although this is not going to be Van Gogh style, I guess. At least not that much. I still don't know what could have possibly been the reference for this. But it's fine, we can work with this. Just going to take the lemon yellow as it is. There we go. Got a nice round sun. I mean, it's a bit blurry there because the paper is still wet, but it doesn't really matter. If it blurs into the sky, I'm sure Van Gogh approves of this. I'm sure he does. Well, it's either that or he's turning over in his grave, thinking about what the Witch of Paint is doing. But it looks very nice. Okay, I like the sun. I like the sun. The sun is good. Some statements here. The sun is good. Okay, so for the sunflower bits that are inside, I'm struggling a bit because the palette is not clean. And so doing anything on it is a little bit difficult. Because I've technically got only a small tiny little mixing area. So I've got a sunflower there. Gonna mark the middle of that. But I think I had a sunflower here. Gonna add one there. There was one there. There's one here. 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 I'm just gonna add some more in the background. Okay, some of that was clearly not dry, but I like the sun. Me sweating 34 degrees outside. I disagree. I mean, come on. In areas like Ireland, it's very nice to see the sun every once in a while, if you ask me. Because most of the time it's hiding behind the clouds, like it is right now. And it's raining. Okay, interesting. Okay, we're doing I think we're doing better than we did last time. Although last time we also had a smaller area to work with, and I also wasn't thinking about colours. So let's just wash up these edges there. Don't like them. Right, so we're also going to take yellow ochre and put it on the fence. That got a little bit wonky, but we have a fence. I like your sun, if that helps. Thank you. I like my sun too. It's very sunny. Okay. Of course we'll have the tree stump as well. Ooh, okay, we've already got a little bit of dimension in this. which is nice. With a bit of dimension in the tree. Yes! Excuse my excitement. I'm just very excited about this because I feel like I'm doing better than last time. Right, let's wet the church. I'm gonna put it underwater. Let's make sure this is all wet. Except for the windows, of course. Don't want wet windows. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo, and I say it's alright. You didn't recognise it from the Beatles. I don't listen too much to the Beatles. The only songs I've listened to is, excessively listened to, because we were studying them in music, was with a little help from our friends, and Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds, and I think there was one other song, but I don't remember what the song was exactly. Yellow Submarine. Oh, there's a little pub in Corofin called the Yellow Submarine, and it's yellow as well. or it might be something else than a pub, but I kind of just assumed it's a pub, but it's called the Yellow Submarine. Also fitting for this painting. Yeah, but it's above ground, so we're not going to have any submarines in here, unfortunately. Right, we're gonna get this a little... I mean, overall, the shading would be very uniform because it's kind of facing away, so like the only light hitting it would be coming from this side. And the rest of it, I'm just going to... This bit back there is going to be very dark as our rooftops. Yellow Submarine is another song from the Beatles. I know that. I've never listened to it, but I know that it exists. And that it's a song from the Beatles. I'm not that uncultured. I just didn't recognise the one with the sun. I'm sorry. There we go, we're getting some dark grass in here. Oops. I'm gonna be turning into a yellow smurf today. Oh, this is very fun. And I mean, it's already been the hour. Oh yeah, smurfing time. Am I still a smurfer if I'm yellow? That's the question. Is a yellow smurf still a smurf? An unnecessary question, I guess, but kind of important to me, I suppose. gonna add some rust on there as well, because I kind of feel like otherwise it would look a little odd. The age-old question, is a yellow Smurf a Smurf? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Smurfs are blue, apparently. But can they be yellow and still be Smurf? What is a Smurf? Black Smurfs exist and they're evil. Oh yeah. That's right. Didn't Smurfette start out as a grey Smurf? So yellow Smurfs would have to have another trait. They're very bright and sunny. They're just misunderstood. True. Don't at me, that's the law. Yeah, I know. Although technically she wasn't black, she was grey. At least I remember her being grey. Not black. She had black hair, but she was grey. Ooh. There's stuff getting in the windows. That's not the right brush. We are so going to be painting over the windows. Okay. Should we call it a day for now? We've gotten quite far, I would say. And it's drying time and it's been over an hour. So should we call it a day? And continue. Stream extension. Okay, fine. While it dries, I suppose we can talk about the reference of a painting, because I'm not sure Gloria has seen it. What Abian means is he would like you to support the cause of the stream extension. Yeah. This time the borders are a little bit more stable because I've taped them from both sides, but I'm pretty sure I can't put it back there. Which is a shame. There's not enough space around here. Which extensions? Where extensions? Basically, Abian would like the stream to go on for longer. Right. I'm trying to figure out if some of these blobs are just blobs, or if there's a meaning behind them. Like, what's this? Oh no, that's triangle is the shadow of the blue thing. I just realised. I thought you wanted her to get an extension to the stream, like a plugin. My brain is melting away due to work. It's okay. Don't worry. Space-time continuum extensions. Whoa. Abian, we're getting a little bit excited here, aren't we? Right. this corner? The progress though. I mean, I'm barely done, but like the progress. I must have gotten the impression that this girl was bright yellow. Interesting. I've been trying to ID it for a while now. Yeah, we know I've used a reference for this, some sort of reference, but I don't know what reference, and it's been bugging me for an eternity. If my brain was working, yes. Nah. I think I'm going to open a chat on the Discord where we can discuss this, exchange ideas about what on earth is going on with this painting. Well, either that or this painting is going to give us an answer as to what it was. Although I'm pretty sure because of this, Google is going to think again, Starry Night! There's a bunny watching an alien ship near a church. Bunny? To be fair, that could be a bunny. Now that you say it. And I've interpreted it as a tree. The bunny is probably insulted. I mean, aside from me switching up the composition a bit, because what kind of sunflower is bigger than a church? If you look at that, it's not good. Okay, we may be getting further away from reference. I mean, what if it is an alien ship? I'm gonna have to ignore the dark spot here, that's just the blue triangle. I think this was on a class board or something. Class poster. You know, where teachers put up the work of the students whom they are proud of. Such a masterpiece. Okay, let's not insult my old painting. I wonder if this was actually supposed to be something other than another sunflower. Because it's more of a blob than a flower. Did you just rip it off to take it home? Well, someone must have ripped it off, yeah. I mean, we did change it from time to time, and then we got to have our paintings back. Which we didn't in England, by the way. In England, they kept our paintings. But this was a German primary school, so, you know, different situation. I've kept most of the paintings. Some of them I might have thrown away, like the ones that were literally just nonsense. Or that I couldn't make any sense of, or where we didn't know who did it, and just decided to throw it out. But we kept this one, because it's important. Too bad I don't have a class board to put my new one on. It's like, look at how much I've improved. I'm somehow liking lifting it off, although, to be fair, it's looking a little bit orangey. Nah. We'll fix that, obviously, once we add more yellow to it. Some of the yellows do look a little orange-ish. But we've got orange-ish yellow here, so it's fine. Apparently it was allowed. That or cheated. Am I going to... Nah, I don't think I cheated. Maybe I thought it was a yellowish, or I saw it in the reference and I was like, it must be fine. I don't know though if yellow is like the worst or like most difficult colour to work with in a monotone painting. It's okay, surely. I mean, I've got plenty of yellow-ish, yellow-orange-ish tones, so, you know, there's a fine line, I think. Right, we're gonna try to add a little bit of detail to the sunflower petals, for which I will prepare just a little bit of lemon yellow. that has been a little bit watered down. I'm not finding this nerve-wracking at all. This is completely fine. I'm doing okay. Da-da-da. Right, I know we've got this one, but I was slightly leaning that way because in the reference with first sunflower was leaning way that way. It was like bending over. Oh! Very fun, actually. Very fun. Right, I think this one is in front. The more detail we add, the more difficult it's going to get to keep the yellows apart. So we really have to stick to like certain colours in certain areas a little bit. And just try to keep everything both separated and together. My words don't make sense, do they? Well, they might, but you know. Art is difficult. Okay. You guys are seeing more like blobs, but I can see different stuff in there. I can assure you there's sense to the blobbiness. Right, where's the leaf? We've got a leaf here. We've got another leaf here. Let's actually add another leaf there, right there. And right here. But like make them smaller because we're towards the top. I'm gonna add another leaf right there. I think we need one here. Oh! Parents came over. Need to hop off to greet and meet. Ooh! Okay, have fun with your parents. Courier, nice to have had you here as always. Hope to see you soon. Right, we've got... Okay. Maybe this is not as hard as I thought it was going to be. Maybe making things bigger is giving me more things to work with. Which is a good thing, obviously. Ooh, I'm liking this. Okay. Let's just keep going. I know these stems are rather straight, but it's fine. My sunflowers, aside from that one, apparently that one was just deciding to lean over to its neighbours. Listen in. What are you talking about? Your sunflowers? Gossiping, eh? Oh my goodness. Gossiping sunflowers, what's going on with me? Let's actually make this one a little bit more tilted. Because we can't just have all of them straight. We need some variation in stems. I really like this. It's coming together and I like it. Ooh, actually, should be more like, you know, this one. We're all leaning towards the sun. That's what I'm going to explain this away with, even though these two are clearly not quite facing the sun. But that's what my excuse is going to be. Hehe. I'm the artist, I decide what all of this is meaningful for, I guess. Speaking about meaning, I've been meaning to visit the art gallery in the village. Haven't gotten around to it yet. Might remind my parents that I want to go there. Because I think they've started a new exhibition, and I kind of want to see it. Because the last time I was there wasn't a lot of things there in the art gallery, but this time they apparently have new things to show, and I want to see the new things. Yes, I agree, it's very cool. You've got to ask them for permission to show your art. I'm sure they'll let you. Well, maybe, yes. We'll see. We'll see. Right, we're gonna have another sunflower right there. Right behind that one. It's gonna be kind of facing the wrong direction, but it doesn't really matter. My art, my rules, right? Okay. Okay. Lovely. Right, we can define our sun a little bit more. So we take some of this lovely Indian yellow. Okay, I think we should give our cat a base coat. Oops, sorry phone. we've got the kitty. The very lovely kitty. Because I want the windows to stand out, I'm going to give them this coat of yellow. It's kind of bright. And that's might be too thick of a coat. And that's also starting to leak everywhere else because apparently this was not as dry as I thought it was, but it doesn't really matter. We're just going to roll with it. It's a cute little kitty. We've got, oh, wow, that's a lot of birds. A whole swarm of them. Ooh. Too bad you guys can't see them. It's quite a show out there. Right, I'm gonna get myself a paper towel real quick. One moment. Right. Window. Oops, sorry, camera. This is the end of your window. It's not the end of the window, obviously. But the end of it leaking everywhere. I don't want it to. This is the end of you. Why does it sound like you broke it? This is the end of you. I didn't hit it, okay? I didn't hit it. Just in case Becky gets mad at me. I don't know. She's not seeing this, but you know, just in case. Right, we've got this side of the church, which I want to be darker. Way darker. Which is a little bit difficult. I will not snitch. Good. Good. Right. Getting values in here is difficult. But we're getting there, I suppose. Which is good. Right, we're gonna start with lemon yellow on top of here. And then yellow ochre. Okay. I've got something, I guess. Also need shadow on the cross. Good. Very good. Okay, we're gonna take a small brush, add some details to the sunflower leaves. Or I guess the petals would be more suitable of a term. Honestly, the cat adds so much to the painting. It adds that little bit of, huh? What the heck? That's a bit weird. But it's fine. Cats are good anywhere they go. Where there's a cat, there's either joy or allergies or pure hatred. There's a lot to cats. Cats have many layers. Some good, some bad. But everyone has good and bad in them, so... It catches you by surprise, like a normal cat would. That's very true. Also, the camera battery is apparently starting to run low, which is odd, because I'm pretty sure I put in a new battery. Who knows how long it's going to last. But when it runs out of charge, I will either run upstairs and get you guys get the camera with a second battery, or I will call it a day. There's no in between, I think. Me last time I saw a cat. Joy, check. Allergies, check. Scratches, check. Yeah. That's what I mean, you know. Everybody reacts a little bit different to cats. Some with joy, some with... Yikes, get that thing out of my face. Okay. And sometimes everything happens at once. I don't like that hypothetically, like yikes, get one thing on my face person. If a cat chooses to sit on your face, you can't tolerate it. But some people don't like having a cat sitting on their face, maybe. You know? You have a chosen one, and they are the cat one. I suppose if you gotta tolerate it, you gotta tolerate it, but still, some people don't like being sat on. And that must also be tolerated by the cat. There are people you can sit on and people you can't sit on. Easy as that. Sacrifices must be made to the cat. The ancient Egyptians were onto something with their whole cat-based religion. True. True that. Cats are worth worshipping, you know. At least in my opinion. They are cute, and when they're not too old yet, they catch mice and rats, and sometimes the occasional birdie, which are all okay. Cat's gonna be cats, and cat's gonna hunt. And that's okay for the cat. Not for the birds necessarily, but for the cat it's okay. So that's why you're wearing an amulet in their honor, your cat ears. So pious of you. Maybe that is why I'm wearing the cat ears on me. But I don't want people worshipping me. That would feel a little bit weird if people started worshipping me. Like, I'm just a person, an artist, who sometimes puts cats into her paintings. And sometimes paints seemingly random things. Picasso has a whole cult behind him. Artists have often been worshipped. I know, but I don't really want to become a cult. No, thank you. I don't want people worshipping me. But I guess sometimes it's unavoidable. All praise is the mighty. No! Don't start this, please. Okay, the leaves are way more comprehensible than the sunflowers themselves, which are looking a little bit odd and blobby. Or not praise the almighty, which of pain. Goodness gracious. Okay, the shadows are helping to put things in perspective and add a little bit of depth. But don't ask me how I'm going to put the shadow that is going to be caused by whatever's behind the sunflowers. Because like in there it should be darker, not lighter. And I don't know how dark of a yellow I can get. I've technically got all the shades of yellow I can have on here, mostly. So I'm going to be struggling a bit. Yippee. not to criticize younger you, but this one looks much better. It does. And that's just because since then I have taken a lot of lessons. Life lessons in art. I hope younger you isn't angry at me now. Younger me doesn't know you yet, so it doesn't know what you've just said about her. So it's all good. I consider what you've said okay. And kind of true. Sorry, younger me, but you've still got a long way to go. Many, many years of training await you. Well, I only somewhat improve in the years after primary school. It's only when I only really start improving once I start to properly do this every day. You know what they say. Practice every day and you'll become better. That is kind of true, but I haven't done this every day, because otherwise that would be otherwise, I don't know, I would be exhausted of art right now if I had been painting every day. Do you think it would be okay if I mixed a little bit of burnt sienna into the yellow ochre to try and make it darker, to get a darker yellow shade? Would that be okay? Hold on, I'm gonna clean out some of the space on the palette to see if yeah. I know that I'm the one making the rules, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do this. Depends on how it turns out, the shade. Right, we're going to take some yellow ochre. And we're going to add burnt sienna to it. Now it's brown. Let's add more yellow ochre. But good passes yellow, I guess. I'm gonna try it on the tree. It's almost identical, and I'm pretty sure I'm just lifting the paint underneath of it up a little bit. But let's actually lift off the paint on that side of the tree. I feel like I'm not getting enough dimension in that tree trunk. So let's fix that with this wonderful, beautiful. There you go. Okay, I think it was a good idea to mix the burnt sienna in there. Praise to me. And to you, Abian, of course, because you allowed me to do it. Oh, it's almost been 2 hours. Kind of feel like calling it here. and continuing this on next time, which is probably not going to need that much more stuff to be done, because there's a lot of things already done and there's not much more I can do at the moment anyway. There's not much I can, I could add to it in terms of darker shades, but I can always try. This is alright, it's unfair for the stream extension going to ask twice in the same stream. Alright. I shall see you next Wednesday then. Have a lovely week. Goodbye. Yes, you too. Bye. And a nice weekend as well, because it's Friday. Have a nice weekend and a next week. See you on Wednesday. Bye.